Good evening, sir. How are you?
I am wonderful. I am rushed and ragged from running all over the place and managing a million tasks, but I am absolutely wonderful and in a wonderful mental and emotional
Ooh,
spiritual place. And I savor it because uh, before midnight, who knows where the storm's going to come from. And
right.
there's always a storm on the horizon. But right now, I'm in the if there is a storm, I'm in the eye of it, and I'm gonna hang out here for a while.
I tell you, your energy is refreshing. I'm so appreciating what God is doing right now within you, to you, the whole nine. So keep it up. Just keep it up.
Thanks be to God. Thanks be to God. Good. How are you? How are you, theology students? Mother, manager,
I am living my best life. I'm
business executive.
enjoying.
You trying to cut me off from my list? Stop trying to stop my list. Mother, business manager, congregational care pastor, Meemaw.
At least you didn't do gamma this time. Can we just get to Nana?
Nana is too sounds too sweet. That Nana is like
I
too
am sweet. I am sweet.
of course. But how are you? How are you?
I am just a little bit behind, but I am. Our guest and I were talking before we came on, and I wouldn't trade my life right now for anything. I'm enjoying the ride. I think God has given me just a glimpse into my future,
Wow.
and you got to do the work to get there. Though people can see their future, but they aren't willing to ride the waves and go through the valleys to actually get there. So I've seen just a glimpse, and I'm willing to do whatever I have to do to get there. So I'm enjoying myself. I really am.
Well, that's wonderful. I'm glad we got to enjoy this journey. We have to enjoy it. If we're not having a good time, you're gonna you every day's not gonna be like Disney World, but if you're not having a good time in general, then you need to really examine. We need to really examine what we're doing. I love the great Howard Thurman quote. He says, "Don't ask what does the world need, but what makes you come alive, and go do that." Yes, go do that. Because what the world needs, Dr. Thurman used to say, what the world needs more than anything else are people who are fully alive. And that's one of the reasons I'm so excited about tonight's guests because she is fully alive. When I'm around this young lady, she is bristling with life. And I don't mean just biological life, I don't mean just busyness. I'm talking about being tapped into a sense of who you are, and the joy of living that out. And that comes across so clearly in her. We're so excited to have her as our
At
guest
such a young
at
age.
such a young age. At such a young age. So before we bring her on, Pastor, I want to do a couple of things. I want to get some announcements out the way. Can we do that real quick?
Yes, but before we give your announcements, can we give a hot off the press congratulations?
for
Check your phone. I'm gonna need you to start checking your messages. That's what you would say to me.
oh wow. Yes. Wow. 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 So congratulations, shout out to Bishop D. Williamston of the Great Plains Conference has been elected as the first Black woman to serve as bishop in the South Central jurisdiction. That is absolutely awesome. Congratulations, D. If you're not watching, I'm sure she's probably not watching this now. She's probably somewhere celebrating with her friends, but maybe someone will pass this on. Congratulations. This is absolutely awesome, and it could not have happened to a better human being. She's such a
Amen.
sweet person, such a sweet person, and a wonderful human being, and a strong, effective leader. And
With
so I'm excited about the leadership she's going to bring to our denomination.
a life story of courage.
Yes,
I mean, and
yes.
she has no problem with sharing that. So when I've got goosebumps, the goosies right now, just thinking about the fact of where she's come from and how well she actually carries it. So, yes, my sister, congratulations,
Congratulations.
Bishop Williams. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Okay, so you can give your announcements now.
All right, just a couple of announcements. I just want to share with folks that again on Saturday, St. Mark, that we will do our All Saints Sunday. So we will celebrate, memorialize the folks who have died in our congregation since this time last year. We want to remember them, love on their families, and that's Sunday at 10 a.m. If you have not turned in your information about your family member, please get that into us tomorrow because we do not want to miss anyone. And let me say ahead of time, if we miss anybody, it is purely by mistake because we have every intention of loving on every one of those families. And it is our absolute desire to not miss anyone. So help us not miss anyone. So even if you think we already have the names, why don't you just call the office or shoot us an email and say, hey, make sure y'all have this name and this family on the list. And then number two, on tomorrow, the seniors of St. Mark are joining together to go see the movie Till. About the story of Emmett Till. They're going to North Rock at 11:20 for the 11:45 show. If you want to go with us, you need to be there at 11:15. All the seniors who want to go with the senior group, and we're paying for the first 25. I have about 16, 17 tickets that have been reserved. So there's still about 8 tickets remaining. If you want to go, you need to shoot me a text or an email immediately and let me know, and then meet us over at North Rock at 11:15 to go see that movie. I want to say this real quickly, and I don't want to dwell on it because I get caught up in talking about it. If you have not seen the movie Till, go see the movie. Go see the movie. If I were president, I would mandate and pay for every American citizen to go see this movie because I think it is a paradigmatic American story, and that it'll help us understand the overall comprehensive narrative of who we are as a nation. So just those few announcements. If you're watching this on my page, please go to the St. Mark's Facebook page because if you're on my profile, we'll see your comments, but it won't show us who you are, or we may not see them at all. Go to the St. Mark Facebook page or go to the St. Mark YouTube channel so we can see your comments. And now, with no further delay, let us bring on the brilliant young social entrepreneur, community developer, and the executive director of the Wichita chapter of Habitat Humanity, Miss Danielle Johnson. Welcome, Danielle.
Yes.
Hello, hello. Thank you for that very kind introduction.
She is phenomenal. So let's just give you a little bit of a few of the titles that she carries underneath her hat. She is a wife. She is a mother. She is lover of Christ. As Pastor Johnson says, she is the executive director of Wichita Habitat for Humanity. She is the co-owner of Inclusive Growth Strategies and Bringing It Black. She is the first lady of District 1. Shout out for having your husband's back and taking care of us. And she serves on many boards. I could probably give a whole list of them and run out of breath. She is my sister times two. She is a member of the Links, the Wichita chapter of Links Incorporated, and also a member of Alpha Kappa Alpha Sorority Incorporated, Inc. Welcome, Danielle. We are so glad that you have taken time out of your schedule to join us and to share and pour into our audience.
Thank you. Thank you for the invite.
Hey, thank you for coming. We've been trying to get you on for a minute, but I'm glad we have you on now. And that's all that matters. We've got you on now, and I've got 1,000 questions. So let me jump in. The question I want to ask you, just let's take a moment and do this. Tell us what's going on in your world right now that really has you excited and that really has your focus right now.
Yeah, that's a hard question because I'm someone that has a lot of focuses. Obviously, the most important piece of my life outside of family is Wichita Habitat for Humanity. I've now been in this space for a year and almost 4 months. So just going right along in that space. And it's been really exciting to work with a passionate group of people. I have amazing staff. I have amazing board members. Most importantly, we have amazing families that are truly benefiting from our affordable housing program. So that's been exciting. We just came off of the strategic plan and budget time frame. So that's kind of the thing. And then lots of other projects.
Wow. Wow. So I have a niece who lives in Mississippi. I hope she's watching tonight. Who worked with Habitat for Humanity in Columbia, Mississippi. By the way,
Wow.
so I
Okay.
hope Tab. I hope you're watching because I know you're gonna just delight in Danielle and the work she's doing. So then, Daniel, my second question. Then Pastor Yolanda's gonna jump in I want to tell your story tonight. So I think the Wichita community, they think they know you, they know about you, they know around you. But what I hope that we can do tonight is dig beneath the surface and kind of give you a chance to share at a deeper level who you are, the story that created Danielle Johnson, how you became the person you are today. But before we get to that, I want to ask you this question. Is there a story, a person, a quote, or a scripture that that's keeping you motivated these days?
Yeah, so I'm a big fan and lover of Ella Baker. Civil rights activist, amazing in the background sort of person. And one of the quotes I just absolutely love, she says, "You didn't see me on television. You didn't see news stories about me. The kind of role that I tried to play was to pick up pieces or put together pieces out of which I hoped organizations might come. My theory is strong people don't need strong leaders."
Wow.
I love that. I love her whole essence, everything that she brought to the movement. She touched so many of the great leaders that we boast about today. So
What a great quote. Thank you for that. I knew you were gonna come with something strong. I knew it. I was like, Danielle's not gonna come with some ordinary, like, the same old, same old. She's gonna come with a punch. You did, but I love the latter part of that quote. Strong people don't need strong leaders. Because
yeah,
as a matter of fact, Danielle, to just talk just the African American community, and at St. Mark, we embrace all people of all races, I mean, we don't, but we want to strengthen every community, right? And so
right.
I know in the predominantly African American communities, there's this over reliance on a strong leader. It even seeps into the church circles where it's like everything has got to be. It's like the pastor has to make it. But if you got
Yes.
a great group of people will make a leader great. They will push a leader, they will demand more of the leader, and they will provide a platform for great leadership to happen. So we want strong people. Amen. Amen. Yes. I didn't mean to use that church language with you, that amen language, but it's just like, yes, strong people don't need strong leaders. So Danielle, tell us the story of Danielle Johnson, like how hello Joseph Shepard.
Joseph always got something to say. Always got
Joseph Shepard, you need to get on here, sir. Yolanda, get Joseph Shepard on this call. Joseph, post your email so Yolanda can email you the link so you can come on. You need to get on here with us. But
right.
tell us the story of that. How did you become? What were the events, the experiences? Who were the people? What were the moments that shaped you into becoming the person you are today?
Yeah, I think it really a lot of strong leaders and folks that really poured in and said, "Hey, try this, do that, sign up for this." I take it all the way back to both my mom and dad, Marta and Larry Andrews. My mom comes from Pampanga, Philippines,
Wow.
so culturally very different kind of background. Had the opportunity to spend a little time there, my undergraduate time frame in college, and so I felt closer to my mom, just really understand culturally the things that she went through, and just knowing her story. I certainly don't want to put her business out there, but she's had some traumas, and as I've gotten older, I've learned to appreciate and love our relationship even more. Just understanding, man, you had an experience that I really can never fathom. And so she really poured into me the importance of education, continuing to strive and show up because I was given opportunities that she just wasn't given growing up. And then my dad hails from Birmingham, Alabama. And that speaks for itself, right? When you think about the heart and the movement and civil rights movement and leadership. My dad went to an HBCU. He went to Dillard University.
Wow. Wow.
Incredibly educated. I'm sure he's out here spanking all the folks on the golf course. He grew up playing basketball. So, but the biggest thing that he passed me was servant leadership. He was the dad that would wake me up and said, "Hey, we're doing Meals on Wheels. We're delivering. Let's go. I need you to take these meals to these doors." Or, "Hey, get up. We're working on the rental houses." So it wasn't the sleep in kind of childhood. It was, we're working, you're earning it. No, I'm not going to give you this. You're going to work for that. And at the time, I didn't appreciate it. Now I look back and said, man, I work hard because the hustle was given to me by my parents. So they played a big role. And then just K through 12, I love to say I'm a product of USD 259 public school. Shout out Alicia Thompson and the camp she running over there. It's easy to talk about what's not happening. And I'm telling you, USD 259 has a lot of things happening. You just need to be connected.
Yes,
and what's going on. Yeah. So great teachers, great violin teacher. I mean, it's hard to pinpoint like a certain thing because there was so many people that I owe a debt of gratitude to. Wichita State University, my undergraduate experience, my master's degree experience. I worked at Applebee's. A lot of folks don't know that I did like almost 11 years in restaurant.
Wow.
So yeah, you learn customer service
Yes.
and patience on a whole other level.
Yes. Wow.
She said on a whole other level, right?
Yes, 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 yes. So that's eye-opening. So there are multiple strains of influence that are running through your life, Danielle, which that kind of explains you have a very high work ethic. You have this confidence in crossing ethnic, racial, socioeconomic boundaries, communicating with people from all sectors of society. You are highly self-motivated, but your mom and dad and their experience and what they poured into you, and then your education experience, having worked in the restaurant bit, all of that, it's like converging to create this amazing life. Wow. So thank you for sharing that. Thank you for sharing that. So your dad is from Alabama. Birmingham?
Yes.
Is it Birmingham?
Yes. Birmingham, Alabama.
Wow.
Was in the military for like 25 years. So
Wow.
I got a lot from him. I think the one thing I did miss, and I always bring this up, is I spent a good amount of my time growing up in an organization called Hope Street Youth Development. And a lot of my great friends are Tijuana Hardwell, Kyle Ellison. A lot of folks came through that same organization, and it taught us really to think, speak, and act for ourselves in our communities. And a lot of organizations say like, oh, we do youth-led work. We really were a youth-led organization. Like, we were looking at the policies and the procedures. We were showing up at city councils and school boards and saying, we're fighting for our rights. And so social justice and being able to mobilize, like we would do, all types of things. We would do hits. We would show up to organizations and say, hey, you're doing folks wrong. And I learned a lot of that type of organizing work from that space at like 14, 15 years old. And we're rolling up on adults. We're going to places of power and saying, this is what we want to see for us.
Right. Wow. So this is not a question on our conversation, Matt, but I got to ask you this. What most troubles you about our country let's do about our state and city, and then the country. What's troubling you right now?
I think what's most troubling is people not being able to just have real conversation. Like, we're so stuck in our ways, or we're so stuck in our ideology that we don't even want to engage with someone that's the other or different. And we want to run with like untruths. I think when we think about what we just saw with the critical race theory and even saying that, right? You can say some of these things and folks will peg you as
right,
you're a liberal leftist or you're a right wing. And I'm like,
right.
That is problematic. Like, we can't even have a conversation. You're going to peg me and you're just going to share a blatant lie, and we're going to run with lies. Wow. And those lies are detrimental.
Wow.
Very much so.
Wow.
Very, very, very much so. We appreciate you. So I want to thank you for your pouring out from your youth, even now. You're still young, but serving in the capacities that you do takes a lot from you as a person. So I'm just glad that you identify it as servant leadership, that you realize that basically I'm here to pour myself out for the greater good of other people. So Hope Street, I think, brought about a whole bunch of changes that we're still benefiting from now. So for you
Yeah.
to come from Wichita State and then end up at Wichita at Habitat for Humanity, which I think there is no better person that could be sitting in that seat right now. You are experiencing benefits from some of the changes that you helped to make in Northeast Wichita. So tell us about what has you excited about what's going on at Wichita Habitat for Humanity.
Yeah, I always have to give a shout out and thank you to Ann Fox. I would not, she served for 10 years at Habitat.
Yes, she
It was an
did.
integral piece of the Rock the Block for since 2014. We've been really building in the area of 9th, Grove, Hillside, and 13th Street. Over 88 houses in that area and continuing to grow. But I also know I'm a green executive director. I've never been an executive director before. I've been in other spaces, but I would not be able to lead in this space if she didn't prepare a space for someone green to come in. And so one of the things that she said to me, the best gift that she can give me is a team of experts. And that's exactly what I have at Habitat, is while I get to learn and grow in this space and make minuscule mistakes, right? I get to fail a little bit, but not a lot, right? Because there's a budget and there's a board and there's people and there's partner families and there's a retail outlet. You don't get to fail that much. But I get to work with incredible folks every day who wear their passion on their sleeve. And we all understand that equity is at the heart of this work, ensuring that people have access to affordable housing services. And I would not be able to do that if I didn't have a strong foundation to come into. Habitat's been around since 1986 in this community. And so over 300 homes in the Sedgwick County area. That's an amazing legacy and a brand that supersedes whatever I can bring to the table. I'm just blessed to be able to help grow to the next era of Habitat. So it's exciting.
And the whole process is, go ahead, Pastor Johnson.
No, go ahead. No, go ahead. Go ahead.
I don't, having a daughter-in-law that benefited from one of the homes, the process that she went through, I watched her grow as a person going through the process from Habitat for Humanity. So she is a very coy, very quiet, but at the very end, before you actually get your keys, neighbors come around and they pour into you, right? There's a ceremony. And then the new homeowner gives a speech. I watched her go from girl to woman throughout the time that she was working with your organization. I don't think people understand that they get financial management, they learn financial literacy, they learn how to actually manage a budget, they learn you need how to cut your grass, all the things that you need. There are small things that you think, okay, a house just goes up. That's not everyone knows about the work and putting the nails in the walls, and you can go and volunteer. But I don't think that a lot of people know about the backside of what you guys are doing to develop healthy families.
Yeah.
Can you talk to us a little bit about that?
I can't. First off, thank you for championing the work out here. You are a old Habitat advocate. Thank you for that. No, it's amazing. What I love about this program is it's holistic. It's transformational. We're not just, hey, time to get you in a house. We want to make sure you're a successful homeowner. And there's a lot that goes into that, right? We look really when we think about program qualification, need for housing. So what's your need right now? Your ability to pay. There's a misnomer. People think that we're out here just giving homes away. These partner families are paying a mortgage. The trick to the trade is a 0% interest, but they are in fact paying a mortgage. And we're serving families within the 35 to 80% area median income in Sedgwick County. And then willingness to partner. You are helping to educate yourself with 40 hours of financial education and literacy, making sure you know how to be a good neighbor, ensuring that you know how to take care of your home because you're not renting anymore. You're taking care of your house. This is your investment. And hopefully, it's your generational investment. You're going to be able to build that generational wealth. And you're going to put in 250 or 400 hours of sweat equity. So you're volunteering to help build your home and the homes of those in your community. It's a beautiful program, and we look to help folks be successful. We're not handing you anything. We're working alongside you. We're building together, and that builds pride.
And in doing so, you're diversifying Northeast Wichita. I mean, when you drive down those streets and you see new homes that were once abandoned places, and you see that there are all types of different cultures coming together, making these neighborhoods that we wouldn't once dare drive down the
Mm,
street after dark. There are kids outside with basketballs and jump ropes, changing the actual city. So yes, I'm an ambassador for Habitat for Humanity. Driving down some of those streets and just seeing that it's changed. You know, we've talked about the crack epidemic a couple of times over the last few weeks, Pastor Johnson, but seeing those neighborhoods change from places where gangs were the master authority, that now families have taken them over, and children are really finding new places in the community to call home. Well done. I think the whole mission is amazing. I think you're doing a great job, and I know Anne is excited that you took the role.
thank you. No, it's
I
definitely a
know
blessing.
when I heard about the announcement that you were becoming executive director, I was super excited because I was excited. Number one, I've always believed in the work of Habitat for Humanity. I became a fan of Habitat for Humanity. Believe it or not, I mentioned earlier, my niece in Columbia, Mississippi, was active in Habitat for Humanity, a passionate participant in the work there. But then I'm such an admirer of President Jimmy Carter and
Yes.
how he was actively engaged in the work. And I thought it was absolutely wonderful. So when I heard that Danielle Johnson had gotten the job as executive director, I was super excited because of the importance of the work. But I knew you were going to bring young, energetic, creative leadership to it. And you were doing that. I don't know if you remember. I was trying to get in connect. I was trying to connect with you right after that, just to have some conversations. We missed each other, but I was so excited about that, and you're doing that. But I want to go back though, and Pastor Yolanda, we'll come back and talk more about Habitat for Humanity, because I want to talk about how churches and all of us who are listening, how we can come alongside Danielle and support the work of Habitat for Humanity to make sure that she wins, but also to make sure that all the people that she wants to help, that they win too. And I
Yeah.
want to be a part of that work. That's great work. But Danielle, you mentioned, and I'm so proud of you to be so young to get this. And I asked you, what troubles you about our country and and you said our inability to have conversation.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah.
And that is the issue. As a matter of fact, that is my focus right now, Daniel. Is okay, because I became a part of the voices who were yelling at each other across social media. I became one of the voices yelling at each other across various platforms. And in the process of writing a book and working with an editor, I developed this acute awareness that I was part of the problem, because I was pushing my points, but I was not creating and facilitating conversation. And that is the only way forward. And for you to see that, what solutions do you like? What are some ways that we can create conversation in our city that moves us forward? Have you thought about that at all?
I have, and I've been blessed to be a part of a number of conversations or trainings or workshops. I do think Brian Stevenson, love his work, says a lot about just proximity. And I think a lot of us are starting to say that term a lot more, but you have to get proximate. I am not afraid to watch Fox News. I am not, while I might not agree with some of the things, I'm watching across news channels, MSNBC, CNN, whatever that is. I am not afraid to engage or listen to an unpopular opinion, because that's how we learn and grow from one another, right? I think at some point you have to have the emotional intelligence. You have to be in the space to say, well, I don't agree with you. I don't have to be hateful or hurtful, but I can take the time to have radical empathy and to listen
Wow.
and learn where you're coming from, your
Come on,
background.
Danielle.
So it's,
Yes.
I think we all have the ability to do it. Are we willing to do it?
What's the radical empathy? Say more to us about.
Yeah, radical empathy. So, I really started using this. I heard Mark McCormick. He spoke at Wichita State not too long ago, and I was still working there at the time. And I forget I forget why he was there, but I think he was there for an event, but was speaking about just having radical empathy and engaging, and how we talk about each other, how we talk about things, being asset minded versus speaking from a deficit. And I just started looking into radical empathy a little bit more, right? Like maybe I won't ever be able to walk in your shoes or understand what you experience as a Black pastor, a man, what have you. But I can listen intently and I can try to imagine what it would be like. And I could believe what I'm hearing you say, even though I'll never maybe experience it. But I can listen and care and say, wow, thank you for sharing that. And how can I show up better? Or how can I understand your struggle a little bit more? Instead of, let me throw my defensive attribution up there. Let me say, no, that's not true. I've never experienced that. I know a Black man too, and he made it. Instead of being defensive, what are we
He
doing?
made it.
Right?
Respecting each other's lived experiences is extremely important. And I've
Right.
never heard it as radical empathy, but I think just hearing whenever you connect something to something radical,
Yeah.
you know that it has to be truly, truly intentional. And Pastor Johnson, you have sent me this saying about when people feel heard.
Yeah, yeah. It's that being listened to or being heard feels so much like being loved that
Mhm.
most people can't tell the difference. Yes.
Yeah.
Thank you for letting me get that little sneaker preaching.
Yeah, no. And I think, and to add, we have to humble ourselves. You have to be
Yeah.
humble
Yes.
to listen and learn.
Yes.
You don't know everything, and that's okay
Yes.
too.
You haven't experienced everything.
Right.
Because I think a lot of times where anger and fear, hostility is just the fact that you've never experienced my perspective. You've never walked a day in my shoes, so you discount it. You discredit
Right.
it.
Right.
You know, what the Holocaust didn't occur. We have those anti-Semitic thoughts, or we choose to be enslaved. Those thoughts are easy to think if you haven't had the opportunity to walk in someone else's shoes.
Well, Yolanda, you talk about that, a phrase that you like that was used by one of our previous guests. She talked about leaning into the tough conversations,
Mm.
which is that same kind of thing. It's instead of running away and blaming and pointing the finger and attacking, leaning into the tough conversations to listen, to give ear to people's uh, voice of frustration, of hurt, of neglect, of victimhood, giving voice to that, leaning into that, and not running away from the pain. And of course, I compare that if you put that alongside radical empathy. And Danielle, I'm so proud you talked about humility.
Yeah.
We were just in my previous that I just came out of our book study. We talked. The question was asked: How do you reach across the boundaries to really build relationships? And I talked about, I don't know of any other way other than beginning from a place of humility. And one of our class members brought up Micah in the Bible, Micah chapter 6, verse 8, that this is what God requires to love mercy. That's radical empathy.
Yeah.
Love mercy, to do justice. So that to love mercy means to be paid, to be empathetic towards people that may have done significant wrong, that have hurt you, but then to do justice, to defend those who are being mistreated, to be a voice and to be a force against injustice, but then to walk humbly with your. So there has to be this kind of humility in oneself in order to engage in those important works. Yeah, Yolanda, you were about to jump in.
That can be learned, but I want to go back to that word radical again. I can always empathize with you for a moment. But when
Mm.
I think of radical empathy, I'm thinking of something that I carry with me that then changes my whole thought process. It changes the way that I live my life. It changes the way that I treat other people. So to add radical to empathy, we claim
Yeah.
to empathize all the time, but when you do it
Right.
radically, I mean, that just sits with me.
Right.
Yeah.
It's a powerful term. So much like Mark McCormick, and so much like Danielle Johnson, to pick up on that and to carry that forward and to integrate that into her. The way she's reflecting upon what's going on in our world. Linda Sims, I want to be very clear. Get my quote right, Linda. Get it right. Get it right. It's not like listening so much like, but listening when people feel heard, it feels so much like being loved that most people can't tell the difference. And any of you all who are listening, if you've ever had someone who shut everything down,
Mm,
looked you in the eye, and listened to you as if they didn't have anything else to do, how it changes your life. And I had that happen to me. I've had that happen. I had a mother who did that for me. I had siblings, but I had that happen with my publisher when Danielle, they met with me for 4 hours because they said, we read this book. We want to understand, but we want to know how to market the book. They spent 4 hours. Tell us about your mom. Tell us about your dad.
yeah,
Tell us about your sibling. And I'm like, are you kidding me? I get to talk about myself.
Lord help.
but it felt like love.
But it felt like love. I was like, wow, these people love me. They love me. Wow, this is awesome. Because it was such a, and I said to them, I was like, man, I wonder how many people in my community, their lives will be radically changed in one day if if my church gave them a platform and just said, talk. We
There
want,
you go.
we're listening. We're
Yeah,
listening. Yes.
If you should be heard anywhere,
It should be in the church. Yes.
that's amazing. Yeah, I think too, right? And listening, and then also providing action and accountability, right? Because it's the other side of
Right.
I'm listening, I'm listening, I'm listening, and we're doing nothing about it.
Right. Right. Wow. Yes. Keep going, Danielle. This is so
Yeah.
you've built out a whole like system of how you're processing this conversation, radical empathy, responding with action.
and I think that answers the question of what drives her passion for service in the community. You know what I mean? I think that whole thought process and the things that you went through, you laid a nice little roadmap for us of how you actually got to where you are. So
Great stuff.
I
Now,
appreciate
so Danielle, this is not in the map. So I send out the conversation map because some people are very your sorrow, Linda. Don't,
that.
don't throw me no surprises. My wife and Lisa McDaniel, like don't shoot from the hip with me. Like what do you like? We going by the script. So I don't. But I want to ask you on the spot. Give us and just be there are a bunch of folks who are watching right now who are deeply they live their lives out of the platform of the church, out of the I mean, that's how they define social work. That's how they define community development. They live it from out of their church context. But challenge us as a young adult. What are some things that you think that the church gets wrong, and what are some things that you think we should strengthen what remains?
Yeah. So, I grew up in the Pentecostal church.
What?
I did, yeah. Brother Cornwell, Pastor Cornwell was my
Are
pastor.
you serious? Get
I'm
out of what?
serious. And Bishop Wade Moore was my youth pastor.
Wow. Get out of
Yeah.
here.
Yeah, that my mom still goes to their church. They have a robust Filipino ministry.
Wow.
My mom still is there, and yeah, so lots of experiences from the church.
Wow.
Yeah, yeah, and Brandon grew up in Grant Chapel,
Yes.
and
Yes.
so yeah, love. I say that to say, when you grow up and you're like church, 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 and you're in the choir, and then you're doing Bible study, and like that's your whole life, and then when you get to college, you get to do you. So I was like, oh yeah, I love the church. And then I took a sabbatical. I'm currently a spiritual free agent. I was telling that to Pastor Yolanda a moment ago. She's like, where's your home church? I'm a spiritual free agent. Visit a lot of churches.
Yeah.
you said that. Now you know what's about to happen, right?
No. I'm not gonna bother Danielle.
I wasn't talking about just you.
Oh, okay.
That's funny. That's what I do see interestingly as someone that would get up every morning and go to the morning service and night service. I think somewhere in there for me, there's a disconnect because we talk about all these great things and there's all these amazing ministries that are happening within churches. But I just feel like there's a great silo. Like what would it look like if every church, because by the way, there's a church almost on every corner in Northeast Wichita. I'm just talking Northeast Wichita.
That's right.
What if all these churches really came together and said, you know what, we're going to take 1% from our offering and put that in one big account, and we're going to solve community issues.
Come on, Danielle. Yes.
I don't understand. We preach collaboration and we preach like, oh, we love each other. And it just, I don't know. And now there's some churches that are really great collaborators. There's some folks that come together, but I just don't always feel like the mission serves the greater good of the community, because so much more good could happen if we kind of collaborated more. I mean, you have churches that have like 10 members, and then you have churches that have lots and lots of members. So we want to save souls, we want to help, right? But what does it look like to be really collaborative and really move our community forward? We have that opportunity.
Wow. So true. I look forward, and I hear that from a lot of young adults, and I look forward to that voice of leadership coming into our churches and moving us to that next place, and not settling for anything less, right? Because when I was a young adult, I kind of challenged the church in the same kind of way. But then as you kind of you buy in and you settle. But I pray that your generation doesn't settle, because we have to go. Like, I don't know if the church is going to survive unless the church changes in that sense. I think we've been given all of our seasons of grace, and they're all out. And either we change and we take seriously the mandate and the commission to make a difference in the world, or we will no longer exist. And we definitely will not exist in a bunch of silos coming together. But that would be amazing. It would be amazing if the churches came together and said, we're going to commit 1% of our offering for a shared pool to change, to make a difference in our community. It will make a difference if churches say, you know what, we're going to tithe. We're going to give a tenth of our month to just listening to our community.
Yeah.
We're going to, on a Tuesday night, we're going to open up, and anybody from the community who wants to come in and just tell their story and be heard by people who are practicing radical empathy, and will not judge them, will not attack them, but embrace them. I know of a church in the Tenderloin district of San Francisco, Glide Memorial, that literally helped people get off of drugs and come out of lifestyles of prostitution and all of that, because they opened up their church and they did what they call storytelling. So a lady who had maybe been working the street, a guy who had been dealing drugs, they could come in if they were ready to get out of that, and they could just tell their story, Danielle, no matter how raw, no matter what the language, they could tell their story. But what happens is that if you tell your story in the presence of people who practice radical empathy, your humanity comes alive.
Right.
Yes.
Right. Yeah. Yeah, I'm thinking about, like, we talk about food deserts, and we have some great women out here with some amazing business plans to feed our community, and they need money.
Yeah.
There's enough churches that could have helped funded that by now.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. What is our collective community movement together?
Let's make it happen, Danielle. Let's be intentional. Let's follow through. Let's bring people together who are ready to have this conversation and dig into it. Absolutely. So did you and Brandon, is your passion for community development, is that part of what brought you all together? I'm being nosy.
I think that is our common thread, is that we love community. And we've had this conversation with our kids, because sometimes it takes us to meetings and spaces where we have to take them, or we're bouncing them around, but we both are dedicated to servant leadership, and that's what we love, and that's what we want to do. And so that's been our common tie. And I think that's what keeps our marriage strong too, is just how we show up. And now we're certainly not perfect. Don't let me get out here lying like,
of course.
We do us, but community is at the center of our relationship and what we both love to do.
Absolutely. So I use the term in our conversation map, social entrepreneur. Are you familiar with that? Had you heard that before?
I had not heard that before. I looked that up and I was like, oh, I think I heard the term, but didn't really know much about it.
Okay.
So you put me on social entrepreneur, and I looked it up, and I was like, oh, I kind of am a social
You
entrepreneur.
are, yes. 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 That term
Yeah.
developed about 20 years ago. I was an associate at a super large church in Houston, and I was working with this guy who had worked on had went to Wharton School of Business, worked on Wall Street, became a pastor, but he brought that business acumen to,
Okay.
and he started having me read Fast Company, Harvard Business Review, and about 18, 20 years ago, they started throwing around this term social entrepreneur. And it was so impactful, Danielle, that for a moment I started saying, maybe I wasn't called to be a pastor. Maybe I was called to be a social entrepreneur.
A little bit of everything. You can do a little bit of everything.
I was like, I like that. I think I could wear that. I like that. Sounds good to me. But I
Right.
love the concept of taking the practices of an entrepreneur, but applying them to social problems. Does that
Yeah,
make, do you
it
see yourself in
does.
that way?
I do. I feel like there's a lot of things I always say when folks are, what are you passionate about? I'm passionate about everything. And that's what pulls me into a lot of different circles and a lot of different spaces. But if I can connect a resource to an idea and help push it forward, and I don't always want to be at the helm of things. I love to start things and pass it on.
Wow.
So I love that
Interesting.
term, social entrepreneur.
What
Yeah.
have you taken the Enneagram before? Have you taken the Enneagram assessment?
I've taken a lot of assessments. What's the
The Enneagram, it gives you a number. So people say that I'm a
oh,
one, I'm a three, I'm a
I've not
seven. You
taken
haven't
that.
done that one. I'd
No.
love to know because I bet you're a seven. I bet
Okay.
you're a seven.
So
Uh,
take the Enneagram. Is
all
that
the all the brilliant people are sevens. Just
okay?
Lord help.
uh,
Read Brene Brown's
just
excerpt
FYI.
about it,
Okay.
about the Enneagram.
Okay. I've heard the numbers thing though. I've not done that one. I've
You've
done all
heard,
the
so
other little
you've been around people saying, I'm a one, I'm a
yes.
three, and you was like, okay, good for
Okay.
you, good for you. But just,
Yes.
but just like I love to for you to just take a look at it. You and Brandon both, and I would love to know how you all like what score you all come out of that.
Okay.
Because I said that because you talked about how like you like to generate new ideas and pass them on. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. I will check
So
that out.
so talk about, where do you see the city of Wichita in 7 years? What would you like to see our city be in 7 years?
Yeah, I think we're starting to see younger leaders take the helm. There's a number of younger executive directors across the city. We're starting to see folks kind of retire out of spaces. So, right, that births new ideas and some new innovation. So, what I hope to see in the next 7 years is that we're not talking about some of the same issues,
Right.
and we've actually made movement
Yeah.
on those things. I had the opportunity to go to Minneapolis for the Chamber City to City event, and certainly Minneapolis is not perfect. Definitely different kind of space and different monies out there, Fortune 500 companies, all that what you have, but they've made some serious commitments around equity work, and they have the data to back up why they're making these changes, and they're putting houses down, and they're addressing transit, and they're addressing mental health calls. And I think we're still at the space of talking about these issues. At what point are we going to put the resources and the dollars in place so that we can make movement on the mental health and the homelessness, and we could be an amazing city? And I think we're growing in that way. I certainly don't want to be disparaging, but lots of leaders talking. Looking forward to some movement.
Yeah.
And so hopefully 7 years from now, some things will have been put in place, and we have some new hearted leadership in spaces willing to make moves.
Yeah. So let me ask you this: as you assess the city and our community, I know when I first got here 6 years ago, there was a deep concern about uh, the exit of young talent in the city, that there was nothing here to hold young people here. So, and people would tell me, Pastor, 30, 40 years ago, the aircraft industry was booming. Young people were moving here because they could get great jobs and they could live high quality lives in a great place. But that after the aircraft industry kind of bottomed out, and that people grow up here, and once they get their degree and they start really digging into in good, that they end up leaving, they're going to Dallas, Kansas City. Are we solving that problem? And if we are there things on the horizon that make you feel better about where we are with that?
Yeah, I think when I think about my group of friends, I've seen a lot of folks leave this community, and we're starting to see like the term boomerang. Folks are coming back. They were born here, left for a little bit, now they're coming back.
Wow. Wow.
Um, I think we have some really great opportunities. There are folks that still really love Wichita and they're falling in love with Wichita and they're saying, okay, you know what, we're making some moves. There are some other opportunities here. But I think that there's still a lot of growth that needs to be done in that space, especially when you start looking at intersections of people, women, minorities, all you have some folks that are talking about their discomfort in spaces oftentimes, and we talk about this all the time, being the only one in the room.
Yeah.
Given the numbers and the demographics, if you're a person of color, 9 times out of 10, it's just you, especially if you're corporate or on a board in some nonprofit spaces, and the comfort level and the conversations that you're fielding and the educating that you have to do. On top of just, I mean, when we think about our legislature, some of the policies, and not to get political, but you have anti-LGBTQ
Yep.
policies being introduced every year. You have the argument that happened with the non-discrimination ordinance at the city level. We have some pretty frank opinions in our community that's loud and are saying, I don't want to embrace diversity. I don't want to talk about those things. Well, people that look like us, and not all of us, they feel it and they see it.
Yep.
So how do you tell me you love me and want me to grow and be here, and we can't even have frank conversations about the inequities on the job?
Wow. Wow. Such a clear thinker. Yolanda, you want to jump in?
I'm just enjoying her thought processes. I'm enjoying hearing you um, share the concerns, because I think we talk about it in our closed groups, but I think to put it on the table publicly, especially with you being one of those young people who have actually decided to stay,
Yes.
right? If you're not part of the solution, you know how that old adage goes. And if we want to make this a better community for our children and our children's children, we need folks to stay. No, we don't have all the bells and whistles of a lot of those larger cities, but we can get there if we're all willing to be social entrepreneurs, if we're all willing to wear the same hats like you and Brandon do. We can make this city a phenomenal place. It's already a great place to raise children, I believe, right?
Yeah.
I think the Innovation Campus is doing some outstanding
Phenomenal.
work,
Phenomenal.
bringing people in, and I think Wichita State is trying to make a change and a swing to do exactly what you said, Pastor Johnson, find a way to keep people here. But if folks won't stay, there's absolutely nothing we can do to kind of bridge that gap.
Right.
So keep doing what you're doing and bring a few more people with you.
Yeah. Right. And that's it too, right? Bringing other folks in the door. Because I do think we have folks that are like, it's the same old people in the same spaces getting the same opportunities. And so when we are in the door, we have to be very mindful of saying, okay, I got 4 or 5 other people, and not the same people, but who haven't had the opportunities.
Right. Right.
So can we give her just a few moments? And I know, again, this wasn't on the conversation map, but I think it's important that we always give our guests the opportunity to tell us about their personal endeavors. I mentioned that you are co-owner of 2 separate entities. Can you tell us a little bit about both of those projects?
Yeah. So Inclusive Growth Strategies is a business that my husband and I have, and that's a diversity consulting business. So I have the opportunity to go and really just continue the DEI work that I had the pleasure of doing at Wichita State when I served in the Office of Diversity and Inclusion. But it's working alongside businesses and organizations to talk about, what are your strategies around DEI? Do you need to learn more about microaggressions or whatever the topics are? I can help build a training. I do a lot of that work alongside folks like Alicia Sanchez. I have some consultants under me, Joseph Shepard, Shauna Siobhan Stevens, Nikayla Pack. There's quite a few folks that Natalie Tony. And we have the opportunity to go out and educate and serve as a keynote or do workshops. And really, we're the folks that want to have those discussions. We want you to lean into the discomfort and educate, so you don't have to run around here and act like you don't know better, and put some accountability in this space as well.
Amen. Amen.
And what's the second one?
Bringing It Black. So I get to work alongside 2 amazing women, Felicia Thompson and Autumn Black. And we really work to put on events, highlight other small businesses, particularly business owners of color. We did Final Fridays in the Art Gallery downtown off of Douglas and showcased Black business owners. So We do events. We've done some day parties. So just really trying to help create that culture that folks are looking for. We are not Atlanta. We are not DC or Dallas, right? We don't have a large pocket of folks of color, but we can still have those cultural ties and those cultural events. And that's really what Bringing It Black is about. And we're also open. And we're not just saying it's just for Black folks, but we are unapologetically a Black organization. And we want folks that want to serve as allies in that space as well. But there are times that you culturally want to put on for your community. And we have the opportunity to do that.
Awesome. Danielle, and I want to encourage you in this. Some people are trying to figure out how to survive for themselves, but there are other people who are creating opportunities for thousands of others. So you can, and I think that if you become, I think it's biblical to be a producer, to be a creator of opportunities, rather than to be somebody looking for somebody to give you an opportunity. Those are totally two different mindsets. Those.
Right.
And one is receptive, one is generative. I believe that being a generative person creates a kind of creativity and growth for others that you can't help but to grow.
Right.
If you're creating jobs for other people, you're growing too. And so I just really want to encourage you in that. But I got to ask you this, just amazing stuff. When do you ever feel disillusioned, and how do you work through that?
Yeah. I was just having this conversation of, man, wouldn't it be easier to just like wake up and go to work and come home and do family stuff and not.
It would be
there's
so
a bliss
boring. Bored out of your mind.
Would it be boring? I have folks that are in my life that are like, man, you do so much. I didn't even know that was a thing. Or wow, how do you have time to do? And I respect everyone's walk, but I'm like, man, what would it be like to just come home and not worry about what's going on in the community or the world, or have these double conscious conversations, right? So yeah, sometimes I'm like, man, we're trying to work on issues that are like age old, years old, systemically ingrained problems. Can you really solve that problem? So yeah, I mean, yes, to answer the question, I do. But it's those small moments where you see the transformation, or those little wins, or those, man, look at how this board has changed, or wow, they let me in this room and I got to speak my truth and they didn't kick me out and they invited me back. That's a big deal. And to hear folks say, man, watching you do that is inspiring to me. And I went and did this. So maybe we're not making a world of difference, but it's those small changes that really keep me in the work and in the game, and say, you know what, I'm not going to just lay down and act like that's not a problem. Or turn the blind eye to it.
Wow. It is tempting, those of us that are trying to engage in the work of trying to make a difference in the world at large, in the community at large. Sometimes you just want to not, like, I don't want to care. I just want to do, like, I just want to be selfish and don't worry about nobody but me, not think about, I don't want to have to create, I don't want to have to think of new ideas and think of ways of connecting people and building bridges. But I'm glad you're finding a way to sustain your work. Two final questions for you. Have you seen The Woman King? And what, if you have, any thoughts or reflections on it?
I have not seen it yet. I can't wait to watch it because I've heard amazing things about it. So no, I have not seen it yet.
You're too busy. I don't have time to go to no movie. Did you hear what I told you? I mean, are you asking me about if I've been to the movies?
I got to get in there though. You're right. It's been crazy.
Hey, here's the difference. You're 20 something with kids, and I'm 56 and my kids are adults. My kids are like, and so your free time gets spent with your kids. My free time gets spent doing adult things with going to the movie. So that's where I free. I just want to make sure, I want everybody to know I'm just as busy as Danielle.
I appreciate that. First off, thank you for saying I'm 20 something. I love that. I'm 36. What? So thank you. Hey, come on. Good skincare. Good skincare is Joseph.
Right. But y'all do need to get a date night together.
That's the rural Midwest. That is the rural Midwest. That is because everybody here looks 10 years younger than people from any other part of the country. And it is exactly 10 years. If I see somebody here and I think they're 20, they're probably 30. If you go to the deep south with a lot of parts of the deep south or the southwest to Houston with the heat and the traffic, if you think somebody's 50, they're probably 30.
Okay. I'll remember that.
He says that all the time.
All of my folks in Houston, y'all know I'm just, I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. I'm
Oh
just
my
like,
God.
so my final question, speak to to mothers of black girls and to any young black female adults, young adults out there who are listening. If you could take 2 minutes to pour into them, what would you say to them?
Yeah, man, I definitely love yourself. Love on other women. It is so easy to get on the bandwagon and tear someone down. What does it look like to really just connect and uplift and build? And that's why I love my Bringing It Black space and my urban professional space. All these spaces I get to be in, there are folks that are lifting while they're climbing, and that can be done.
Wow.
And I think, and especially a mother to black girls, pour into your babies. That's all I can say is tell them you love them every chance that you get. I'm hypercritical, and I have to be mindful of, I'm the mom that's like, don't say that, you're being too loud, and you just want to micromanage. Sometimes you just need to step back and let your kids be kids,
especially that younger one.
love on them, right? I'm like, put those
Especially
things
that
down.
younger one.
But sometimes I just want to hear that they're beautiful and that they're loved, and love your hair, love the coil, the straight, the kink, whatever it is, love from the head to the toes, and deal with your trauma. Understand that maybe you were raised in a household that didn't have it together, but you don't get to run around here and emotionally bleed on everyone because of your trauma. Deal with your trauma, get a mentor, get people in your life, go to therapy if you can. And I also know that's a privilege because some folks don't have insurance. Lean on your church, whatever. There's no shortage of resources out here. So connect with someone, ask for help when you need it, but just love on one another and stop talking bad about each other. Stop it. How can you support a sister? If you see someone making candles and you make candles, how can we make candles together? Right? Like,
Exactly.
You make me want to clap like the guy clapped in the movie. What's the movie about the guy that wanted to play football at Notre Dame? Rudy. Have you all ever seen the movie Rudy? And remember that when he finally gets on the team and the black guy is clapping like this, like. You make me want to clap like that, Danielle. That was so powerful. After even my mama, thank you, mama. Now, for Pastor Yolanda, my mama said that's awesome. Absolutely, that was absolutely awesome.
She wasn't talking about the Rudy movie. She was speaking about Danielle's comments. Hey, Mother Johnson, how are you doing?
Hello.
I think that's. And I'm glad you kept it real in the end. Stop talking about one another.
Wow.
I mean, I think as African American women, we are the harder on one another than anyone else. We are critical, and we are the least likely to empathize and love on one another. And I really think that that's something that we have to do better about. You know, you walk in the room and you see people that look like you. There's 20 women in there, and you expect, okay, good, I'm in a safe place. And then it's like, whoa,
yeah,
what did I just walk into? And so I think we have a responsibility to our children to do better and model a different behavior. I want to commend you that you do bring your children, a lot of the places that you go. That youngest one, not that I don't love them all, but she got her wedding planned out. She knows, she's got her life together already. How old is she?
Oh man, so 9 and 3 are the girls. Yeah.
3 years old. She knows that she's going to get married, and she loves her outfits.
Yeah.
And she loves her hair. So I love seeing her out and about with you. And I think you're modeling the behavior for them that we actually want to see.
Thank you.
I want to close with, I just want to Danielle, as you were talking, I thought about one of my favorite music artists is Jamila Woods, and she has a song out called "Holy," and it's a twist on the song. I woke up this morning with my mind stayed on Jesus.
Yeah.
She says, "But I woke up this morning with my mind set on loving me."
Mm.
London, I love that song. I listen to that song almost as an anthem, just to remind myself that as a Christian, God has given me permission to do that. He called, as a matter of fact, the great commandment is to love my neighbor as I love myself. And
Mm-hmm.
so she says, I woke up this morning with my mind stayed on loving me. And I pray that all of our sisters out there will do that. Love yourself, embrace yourself, and then love your sisters, and then love people.
Yeah.
Lean into radical empathy, reach across the boundaries, lean in, engage in tough conversations with humility, and we can make a difference. Danielle, thank you so much for coming on. Uh, so much respect. I'd love for you and Brandon to come on together at some point. I think that would be another
Yeah.
awesome conversation. So we look forward to doing that. Maybe if we can make that happen during the holiday season, will be a wonderful time. So we can kind of cast a vision. People are setting goals as well as celebrating the holidays. People are
Yeah.
also setting New Year's resolutions. It would be wonderful for us to have you all on and for us to cast a vision for who we can be as a city in
Oh, thank you.
2023. So
That'd
would
be
you
great.
mention that to him and see if we can make that
I
happen?
will. I will let him know. I saw Nisi. Love you too, Nisi. I'm seeing these messages pop up. Come on, sweetheart. This is great.
And getting love
Thank
throughout
you.
the course of the night. So that might be a great way for us to close. Nisi said earlier that um,
Phenomenal Woman
Danielle,
was written with
Phenomenal Woman,
Danielle
was
Johnson
written
in
with her in
mind. That's
mind.
a great statement.
And she also
Great
said that she
statement.
has a calling and Danielle has been chosen and she's accepted it. And everyone blessed with her
Mhm.
involvement will be better for it, period.
Oh, thank you.
Awesome statement. What an awesome thing to have someone who knows you well to say about you. All right, Daniel. God bless. Thank you so much. And let's do one final thing. So, if someone wants to just contribute financially to Habitat for Humanity, the Wichita chapter, how do they do that? What's the easiest way
Yes.
to do
Thank
that?
you for that plug. WichitaHabitat.org. You can actually donate from there. You do it electronically. I'll pick up a check. Well, if it jingles or if it folds, we'll accept it.
so, so you can go to wichitahabitat.org or reach out to Danielle, and she says she'll come get your money, and I will too. By the way, Habitat for Humanity and St. Mark will come get your money. Just let us know. Call, holler at your boy. I'll come get it. Fine. I will get in my car and come get it. Danielle, thank you so much. Say hello to your family. I'm praying
Thank
for your family.
you.
May God cover you all and bless you all and keep you all and continue to prosper you all in all of your heart's desires in every way. Have a great night, Danielle.
Thank you. I
All right,
appreciate
we'll
you
let
all.
you go. We're going to stay on and make a couple of more announcements.
Okay.
Good
Bye.
night. Love you. We'll talk soon.
Love you.
All right, folks, before you go, I want to give you all a heads up and just let you all know we had a wonderful night. Danielle Johnson is absolutely awesome, so smart, so focused. And next week, we're going to have on my good friend, Brian Courtney Wilson. He has a new album out, and I can't wait to talk to him. And he and I were talking today. We're really going to dig deep. We're going to talk about music. We're going to talk about his music, but I also want to dig deep into this. He just has so much life wisdom, spiritual wisdom that we want to plug into and have him share. So that's next week. We'll have Brian Courtney Wilson on as our special guest, and I cannot wait for that conversation. This has been so fun, and the fun keeps going and going and going. Pastor Yolanda, thank you for being on tonight and helping us. To the Singers of St. Mark, we'll see you over at North Rock Theater at 11:15 to see the movie Till, and then we will celebrate and remember the lives of those who have passed on since November of 2021. People in our church family who have passed on, who have made their transition to heaven. We want to remember them and celebrate them and then love on their families on Sunday. And also Sunday is First Communion. So we will celebrate the sacrament of Holy Communion. And I'm looking forward to doing that as well. It's been an awesome night, an awesome day. God's doing amazing things. And I pray that when I turn this off, Yolanda, and I go check the score of the Astros Phillies game, that the Astros are not losing. So I need everybody to pray right now.
They canceled football for tonight. They canceled it.
It's baseball. See you all in the wrong basket and the wrong field.
I can't keep up. And you like all of them. So you go from basketball to football to hockey to, I'm like, okay, what team is the Pelicans? I have no idea.
Is we don't have enough time to explain it. Janice Elmore, yes, we did a big congratulations to Dee Williamson, who is now bishop-elect from the South Central Jurisdictional Conference. She is the first African-American bishop-elect, female bishop-elect from the South Central Jurisdiction, and we're so proud of her, so proud that she comes from the Great Plains Conference, and she's going to be, as I said earlier, she's such a kind, sweet person, and a great human being, and then just a strong, effective, clear, consistent leader. So we look forward to the leadership she will provide, and we celebrate her. Those of you that are listening, if you know Dee, let her know we celebrate her so she can come on and enjoy this celebration of her, and so she can see how we love her. Thank you all for tuning in tonight. Again, we'll see you next Wednesday with Brian Courtney Wilson in St. Mark. We'll see you on Sunday. Good night.